We all hear about how amazing green tea is, right? It's supposed to boost your metabolism, it's great for your brain, the list goes on. But what if I told you there's a huge debate hiding right inside your teacup, and it's all about when you drink it? Let's get into the science of this.
So, that cup of green tea you have first thing in the morning, is it actually supercharging your health, or could it be secretly wrecking your stomach? That is the big question we're going to unpack. And believe me, the answer is not a simple yes or no. It's actually a fascinating trade-off that's happening inside your body.
Okay, let's start with the good stuff, the high-reward side of the argument. Because, there are some really powerful, scientifically backed reasons why you might actually want to drink your green tea before you've eaten anything. And it all boils down to one simple concept: absorption. Now, the absolute stars of the show in green tea are these compounds called catechins, especially when you might have heard of called ECGG. These are the powerhouse antioxidants that give green tea its incredible reputation. The whole point of drinking green tea for your health is to get as many of these into your system as possible. But there's another key player in this story: tannins. They're what give tea that slightly bitter, mouth-drying quality. I want you to remember that name, tannins, because while they're part of tea's character, they're also going to be the main culprit on the other side of this argument. So, here's the crucial point. Clinical studies have actually shown that when you drink green tea on an empty stomach, the absorption of those vital catechins can be about 50% higher. I mean, that's not a small number. That is a massive difference in how much of the good stuff you're actually getting. So why does that happen? Well, think of it this way. Food, especially proteins and fibers, acts kind of like a sponge. It can bind to the catechins right in your digestive tract, which stops a big portion of them from ever getting into your bloodstream. But without that food getting in the way, they get a clear, fast path to go do their work.
And what's really cool is that the benefits go way beyond just antioxidants. When you have it in a fasted state, green tea becomes this powerful metabolic tool. Studies show it can increase your fat burning rate during exercise by up to 16% and give your overall calorie burn a nice boost. It even helps support autophagy, which is basically your body's cellular cleanup process.
Pretty cool, huh? So you've got this incredible upside: maximum antioxidant absorption, a real boost to your metabolism, and sharper mental clarity. But, and this is a big but, this powerful upside comes with an equally significant downside. Let's flip the coin and take a look at the risks.
All right, time for the other edge of the sword. For a lot of people, drinking green tea on an empty stomach is just a recipe for discomfort, and the science explains exactly why that is.
Remember those tannins we talked about a minute ago? Well, here's where they cause all the trouble. In an empty stomach, there's no food to act as a buffer, so the tannins come into direct contact with the sensitive lining of your stomach, and that can be really, really irritating. Think of it like putting a strong astringent directly on sensitive skin. Ouch.
And that irritation leads to a whole list of very real and unpleasant symptoms. That kind of hollow nausea, stomach pain, heartburn. So many people feel this and just assume they're sensitive. But no, it's a direct chemical reaction that's happening inside your guts.
So here's what's actually going on. Both the tannins and the caffeine act as a trigger, telling your stomach to produce more acid. Now, if there was food in there, that acid would have a job to do. But with no food, all that extra acid is just sloshing around, and that leads directly to that awful burning sensation and discomfort. Now, the downsides aren't just about feeling sick to your stomach. This is a really critical point. Green tea can actually bind to certain minerals and prevent them from being absorbed. Research shows it can reduce your body's ability to absorb non-heme iron, that's the kind you get from plants, by a staggering 64%.
And it isn't just iron. Green tea can also interfere with how well you absorb folic acid. This is an absolutely critical nutrient, especially for fetal development during pregnancy, which makes timing incredibly important for any expectant mothers out there.
So we have this clear conflict, right? Maximum benefits versus some pretty significant risks. Does that mean it's an all or nothing choice? Not at all. Let's get into a strategic guide for how to navigate this and maybe, just maybe, get the best of both worlds.
You can totally be strategic about this. First off, hydrate with a glass of water 10 to 15 minutes before your tea. It helps prepare your stomach lining. Second, how you brew is key. Hotter water and longer steeping pulls out more tannins, so try using cooler water and a much shorter steep time. It makes a huge difference. You could also try a lower tannin tea like hojicha, or just start small, have a tiny cup and see how you feel.
Now, being strategic is great, but for some people, there are hard red lines. There are specific groups for whom drinking green tea on an empty stomach is simply not a good idea, where the risks really do outweigh any potential rewards.
So, if you fall into any of these categories, the answer is clear. Avoid green tea on an empty stomach. If you struggle with iron deficiency, that absorption blocking effect is just too risky. For those with digestive issues like gastritis or GERD, it can cause a major flare-up. And if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, have a liver condition, or you're just very sensitive to caffeine, the smart choice is to always drink it with food.
The really crucial point here is that for these specific groups, the trade-off just isn't worth it. The goal is always to enhance your health, not to make an existing condition worse or interfere with getting critical nutrients.
Okay, we've covered the powerful benefits, the serious risks, and the strategies to manage it all. So where does that leave us? Let's bring it all together for the final takeaway.
Ultimately, this isn't about finding a universal rule that fits everyone. It's about understanding that you're making a conscious trade-off. You're choosing to either prioritize getting the absolute maximum absorption of those antioxidants, even at the risk of some discomfort, or you're prioritizing digestive peace at the cost of slightly lower benefit. Neither choice is wrong. It's all about what works for you.
And this is the most important thing to remember. Your body gives you immediate feedback. Nausea or a burning feeling? That is a clear signal. Feeling energized and fantastic? Well, that's a signal too. So now that you're armed with all this knowledge, the question isn't simply should you, but rather, what is your body telling you?